Hey guys, I'm Torie, and you're listening to That Girl, the podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in because the new episode is starting now. Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Torie, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Happy Sunday, or whatever day it is when you are watching this. I hope that you had a fantastic week and you are having a great start to this week. In today's episode, I wanted to kind of chill. It's been a crazy past couple of weeks, so the idea that I had in mind is just like kind of catching up with you guys because there's a lot of things that have happened that I haven't really talked about, either because I literally have been exhausted, so I've just been like sticking to the topic, or I've just like not wanted to yet, or I've been asleep. So that's like the reason why. And so I thought that this would just be like a chill kind of, like the vibe is like, you know how when you FaceTime your best friend that you haven't talked to in a couple months and you're like, oh my gosh, my life has drastically changed, here's the tea. That is very much the vibe, because I guess when I started this podcast, let's see what the vibes were. I was working remotely full-time. I don't think I had my second bunny yet. I was not very like happy. I felt stuck. Like I felt very much stuck, and I don't feel stuck anymore, which is a great thing. But you know, I have a lot of other very all-consuming emotions going on that I can definitely dive into. So while we're still feeling lost at 20s, don't worry, I still relate to this podcast. There's different things going on than there were at the beginning, so I just wanted to talk through those. I also wanted to catch up on some things in like the entertainment world, like, oh, season 2 of the Kardashians came out. We need to talk about that. I watched a Netflix documentary yesterday that I feel like a lot of you would really enjoy, so I want to talk about that. I don't know, like there's a lot of stuff going on that I just feel like you guys would really relate to, so it's almost like spilling the tea, except like it's not like gossiping about anyone, it's just talking about my life. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm not really gonna do a life update because this whole episode is pretty much just going to be a life update, so we're just going to go ahead and jump on into it. But before we do, don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe button, whichever platform you're on. Don't forget to leave a rating and review. If you leave your Instagram handle, I will shout you out. I really appreciate it. It helps my podcast grow so much, and it would actually mean the world to me if you joined my community of girlies, all working to become our best version of ourselves. So, what to talk about first? I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the stuff I've been watching. So, the Kardashians. And I want to make it known, I didn't like grow up watching the Kardashians. My sister is like the Kardashian, like I kid you not, she actually looks like a Kardashian, and she's been watching it since she was probably 13. Like she is the real deal, and anything my sister liked I automatically had to not like, because that's how sisters are. So my sister and I are 16 months apart, so that's kind of why it was like that. It was very like she was the opposite of me, so we just couldn't like the same things in middle school, because that's just how middle school girls are. With that being said, I did not gravitate towards like anything reality TV, and she did. And now that I'm 23, I'm like catching on to like Real Housewives, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, all that. But I will say that I gave the Kardashians a chance because everyone was talking about it, and I was like, you know, whatever. Like the actual show The Kardashians, I really like the Kardashians as people. I just like tried to get into the show and I couldn't. But when the Kardashians came out, I decided to give it a chance. So I started watching it, and honestly, I just think it's so much better. I don't know if it's the editing, I don't know if they're like more open than they were. I don't really know what the difference is. I just feel like it's a whole different show, and maybe it's because it's 1 week at a time it's released, so like it's not everything at once, whereas there's so many seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that it was like you had so much to watch that I just got bored after like 2 episodes, and then I never went back to it. So I don't know, I just know that I like it a lot better. And I wanted to talk about season 2 because there's lots to unpack. I have always liked Chloe, and now that they're older, I really like Kendall as well. I like all of them for their own unique reasons, but Chloe and Kendall are probably my 2 favorites. I wish we saw more of Kendall because she's just not super involved in the show, but Chloe is obviously a lot more involved, and we've got to see her pretty much grow up, you know, bloom into the person she is today. We've seen relationships, we've seen her, and she's just, I love how gracefully she handles things. And I know with reality there's a certain level of things that aren't actually realistic, but as far as I can tell, Chloe is like the sweetheart. Like, I love her. So that being said, Tristan Thompson is not my favorite person on the planet at all. I actually do not like him. And I am like, when she explained that he knew that he was having a baby with someone else that he cheated on her with, and he did not tell her. In fact, he pushed for her and him to have a baby together. They do the embryo transfer because they're doing it surrogate, and then like 2 days later she finds out that he's having a baby with someone else. Like, who does that? I mean, do you just have no emotions? Like, are you no empathy, no sympathy? Like, is there nothing going on in there? It really bothers me. And I'm not the type of person to send like hate or negativity towards anyone, so I don't, you know, I don't know him personally, obviously, but this is the second time that she, like, last time she had a baby, he did the same thing. Like, she found out that he was cheating a few weeks before True was due, and she ended up having the baby early because she was so stressed. So I'm not a fan. I know that everyone is fighting their own demons, but I just don't see any excuse for cheating. Like, no excuse. Like, once and you're out the door, never talk about it again. Like, there is just no excuse. And I really understand the struggle of like, would you rather your kids have a father figure or not? And at the end of the day, like, that is Chloe's decision to make. But like, I don't know, I get it, because like my dad was not really in the picture, so I understand like personally what it's like to grow up without someone there and like the trauma associated with it. But I don't know what's worse. So yeah, I just, I don't know. And then they had the teaser at the end that was like, we're getting sued for 100 million. I probably know what that is and I just forgot, and I could just Google it, but I don't want to like spoil it for myself. So I think that's the fun thing about the Kardashians. You already know everything that's gonna happen on the show, but it's like you forget because it's like it's like celebrity stuff. Like, I forget about celebrity stuff that happens. So you forget about it, and then it happens again on the Kardashians. You're like, oh my gosh, that actually was wild, and then you get to see the behind the scenes. So I'm excited for that, and I think it's gonna be a good season. Someone also mentioned that Kylie had cutaways in this and like confessions, which is big because Kylie has never really been that involved, and that's why I was hoping she would be more involved with this season. Also, I did notice, because when they were all sitting around the table, Kylie, Kendall, Kim, Chris, and I think that was all, no, Courtney might have been there. They were talking about how they wanted to throw a baby shower for her and it just be family, but then they showed everyone sitting at the table and Kendall and Kylie weren't there. So I was a little confused. I don't know what the situation was there. Obviously they could have been there and just not been at the table, but I feel like that was like a important moment where everyone was sitting, and that was like the main point of the baby shower. So I don't know, I was really intrigued, confused by that. But obviously Kendall and Kylie have their own schedule and do a lot outside that we don't know about. Is that everything from the show? Oh, also, they said the baby was probably going to be a Leo, but then they also said that they did the embryo transplant early December. So I did the math and I thought that would make the baby a Virgo, but maybe I did the math wrong. Again, this is just me guessing, and they like are literally obviously way closer to the situation than I am. Shout out to my dog for sneezing. Like, they are way closer to the situation than me, the viewer, is. But they did a whole baby shower based on him being a Leo. So I'm like, hopefully he'll be a Leo. But I don't know. I was like, wait, he would be a Virgo. So I thought. But again, maybe he's going to be born early. Or was born early. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of the Kardashians. What else? Oh, okay. So last night I watched this thing on Netflix. And I think it's called The Real Bling Ring. Lots to unpack there. It's basically about this group of teenagers, and it's a true documentary. This group of teenagers that robbed like Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, Orlando Bloom, Adriana Patridge. I wasn't familiar with her. She's from The Hills. Or is she from the OC? No, that was Rachel Bilson. A lot of people that I'm not super familiar with because they're kind of before my time. But it was like all throughout the early 2000s, so I was kicking it watching Disney while these teenagers were literally robbing millionaires, if not billionaires. And I was like really interested. I think if you like true crime, but you also like celebrity stuff, this is a really good mixture of both. They interviewed 2 people who were involved throughout the entire documentary, and I don't really know who to believe. Nick, the main guy, I think that he is a narcissist and I do not like him. I think that he is a liar, and I know that is a bold statement, but I just do not, I get horrible vibes from him. I think that he learned nothing from his experience. I think that he is still chasing fame. Like, I just do not like this guy. It gave off, he wants to be famous, and doing the Netflix documentary was like his opportunity to do that. It didn't give off he's sorry in any way, shape, or form. And then Alexis, I don't know how I feel about her. I think that she definitely has a lot of trauma that she was dealing with throughout her teenage years. So I don't know if it was like the way they edited the Netflix documentary, because again, I only know the people that were edited to look the way they did. I don't know these people personally, but it really annoyed me because it looked like they were trying to justify having a bad home life, and like that being part of the reason why they did what they did. And so Nick said that the reason he felt the way he did was because he went through puberty, which I'm pretty sure majority of people on the face of the planet go through puberty, and no one robs people. Well, some people do, but majority of us don't. And then he also said that he was on the lower income scale in Calabasas. Like, he was of the lower rich people. And something about that just didn't sit well with me. Like, you weren't the richest of the rich. You were a lower rich, and that's why you felt like you deserve to rob people. Like, excuse me. Alexis, this was a little bit more understandable because she was like, well, my parents got divorced, I moved around a lot, I got into drugs, I was in the wrong group. Like, still I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's a little bit more understandable, you know? But like I said, it was edited to look that way, and I felt like there were some like things missing. So Alexis only was involved with robbing Orlando Bloom, whereas Nick was like pretty much the ringleader and did all of them. I don't want to give him the credit of being the ringleader because he's so scummy and I don't want to give him attention. Like, Rachel was the ringleader, who wasn't in the documentary at all. But Alexis basically said that she was on drugs and she didn't agree to rob Orlando Bloom. Like, it was kind of like, oh, I was just happened to be there, but I didn't know what was happening. And it was like, they have footage and she clearly knew like she walked in with them, she walked out with them, she could have stayed in the car. Like, she knew exactly what was happening. Like, and even if she went in with them, she went and robbed him too. Like, she had her own bag and got her own loot or whatever. Like, so there's some, I'm like, I don't know who to believe. I think I believe Alexis more. And again, none of it matters. Like, it doesn't matter who I believe. It happened. They all did their jail time, and like, they're living their lives. What I say is not going to affect them in any way, shape, or form. But it's definitely interesting, and it was something I wanted to talk about you guys with because it was interesting. And they were just talking about how like they used, or Nick was talking about how he used social media to commit these crimes because he would see when they weren't home. And I was like, oh, that doesn't make me feel good. Like, I'll think twice next time I go on vacation. It was a lot to unpack, and I definitely recommend watching it. I don't think I spoiled anything because you already kind of know what's gonna happen. It was a real life case. It's super good. I still recommend watching it. I think that's everything in entertainment. I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about this because I haven't looked into it that much, and while it's horrible for his wife, honestly, I wasn't like a huge Maroon 5 fan growing up. Like, I'm not that invested in it. I never really liked Adam Levine, like never got the hype, so I haven't researched it that much. But I did want to like talk about Adam Levine. Like, what the heck is going on with that? I'm just speechless with that. Like, it truly shows that it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, it doesn't matter how nice you are, like, men are still trash and men still have the audacity. So that's really all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah. I have no words for that one. I was just like, someone joked about it on the radio, and I didn't hear that they were talking about Adam Levine. I thought they were just talking about something like about someone that called in, like oh, my boyfriend was cheating on me, da, da, da. And I was like, wow, that's like a horrible thing to do. Like, wow, that's a shitty kind of guy. And then it actually happened. Like, I found out it was him, and I was like, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, I've always kind of thought he was like, I've gotten bad vibes. Like, I never liked him, but yeah, yikes, that's not good. And like, obviously, like I mentioned, I don't want to make it sound like it's not that big of a deal, because for his family it's obviously a huge deal, and I feel so bad for them. That's really all I have to say about that. So, life updates. Oh boy. My life has been a train wreck. I think it's been good though. So I'll just say it. I did quit my job, and I have been looking for a different job because, like I mentioned, I felt really stuck. I felt like I wasn't doing anything that I enjoyed, that benefited society. I wasn't getting paid enough, which honestly sucks. Like, if you're making, like, if you go to work 8 hours a day, every day, remote or not, and then it's still not enough to pay the bills, it just, morale hits the floor. There were situations that I didn't agree with, and I just felt like it was a good time for me to move on. So I have been like looking for another job, and like the perfect job came along, and that was kind of like how I kept saying, guys, I have a surprise, but I can't tell you about it yet, or yeah, I have exciting news. And I did actually get offered the job, but I think there was a miscommunication, and the level of compensation that I was offered was like, I know that in the industry I'm in you get offered less, but this was like the same amount that an intern makes regardless of the industry. And as someone who has like 3 degrees, I just couldn't do that. Even like, it's not even about that, it's just I would not have been able to pay my bills, and I really wanted to take it because, like I mentioned, it's my dream job, and I get that you have to start somewhere, but I mean, it was really hard. I actually went to a psychic, and I was like, hey, like, I was offered this job, but it's a low income job. Should I wait for something better to come along? Is something better gonna come along? What do I do? And she was literally like, if you can't afford to pay your bills with this job, why would you take it in the first place? And I was like, oh, I guess that was like like when you put it that way, that was way easier to understand than I guess I thought. So I unfortunately did not take the job. I would still love to work there. I love everyone there. I have a lot of friends who work there, and if the opportunity presented itself, there was a higher compensation, I definitely would, but obviously it was not the right timing. So I'm back to square one. I did have a job interview on Friday with another place I'm really excited about, and I checked and their compensation is like within my range, and it sounded like things were going well. Like I have no reason to think that I wouldn't move forward, but obviously I'm not trying to jinx it or anything, knock on wood. But yeah, so that's really exciting. I hope that that works out. I've also been able to work on the podcast full time, and the growth, I say this every time, but the growth that we've had has been so cool to watch, and I just love you guys so much, and it's been so amazing to just, like I said, watch everything unfold and be able to work on it full time and just research better ways to podcast and, you know, kind of look at podcasts I admire and edit and things like that. I literally spent 4 hours editing a TikTok for the podcast the other day. So if you're listening to this, I'm gonna need you to go to the podcast TikTok, the link is in the description, and go look at the most recent TikTok. I spent 4 hours on that, and it is my child. So ouch. lot to unpack there. That took me longer than any podcast episode has ever taken me, but I really love it. I like how it turned out, and I don't know if I would do it again. I don't know if it went viral, obviously it would be worth it, but I don't know if it was worth it if it doesn't go viral, because yeah, I don't know. But I can do a whole podcast episode on accepting job offers and negotiating a higher salary and how to know when a job is right for you, because I've been like going through that, because honestly I don't really know what I want to do when I grow up, and hello, I'm grown up, like I have to do something. So I've been kind of navigating that. I've also been trying to spend more time outdoors because the weather has been so nice. Yesterday I sat outside for like an hour. I got slaughtered by mosquitoes. Can I say that word? Am I gonna get like, I don't know, like what's the word, shadow banned on like podcasts and YouTube and everything for saying that? But I don't know, the mosquitoes, they won this round, and it hurt. It actually hurt, not just because I was itchy, but because emotionally I was a little bruised that they did that. They could hurt me in that way, betray me like that. But I did spend a lot of time outside. I journaled, and it was really nice. So I'm hoping to do that. Obviously go see my horse some as well. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't been taking a break from manifesting, but I've been kind of like putting it on the back burner because I just want to focus on like my self-concept. I talked about that in my last podcast episode. I talked about how the psychic told me like, hey, this is the same psychic that said like, yo, why would you take a job like that? But she also said, get your self-concept up, and a job that you like better align with, like that higher pay that you align with and you're qualified for and all that, will come. So I haven't just been working on self-concept for that reason, but just because I've been trying to like be happier every day and not be so stressed, because I've been so stressed. Like I cannot even tell you how stressed I've been. And I think it's been working. I don't know. I've honestly been also weaning off of a lot of medication that that makes me sound like I was on like 100 meds. I wasn't. I was on like 2 or 3, and one of them I had to stop completely, and one of them they cut the dose in half. And that's another reason why I've kind of been like, I don't want to say I've been behind on the podcast, but I haven't been as active because my hormones are like out of whack. I feel like, you know those arcade games where the ball is just like, you hit it with the spring and then it goes around, and then you hit it with the 2 like things, I don't know what they're called, and you're trying to keep it from going between the 2 things, and it's just bouncing off of all of those colorful things and making noise. That's literally what my hormones feel like right now. It's just like I'm happy, and then I'm sad, and then I'm crying, and then I'm laughing, and then it's not good. And until they're regulated, I've just been like laying low. So I guess it's kind of good that I'm in between jobs right now, because I don't know how I would be doing that. But yeah, I mean, so fun. Adulting is just so fun, guys. But I know this was kind of like a hodgepodge random episode. I just wanted to update you guys on kind of what's been going on and where I've been, and this was mainly talking about the entertainment industry with a side of a life update, but it's what I've been interested in lately. Not that I've just been like watching TV. I've tried to do so outside of that, but I thought you guys would relate and want to talk about it too. I needed someone to talk about it with, basically. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on anything I mentioned, either in the comments or on my Instagram if you are on Spotify or Apple or Stitcher and you cannot really comment directly below. We can talk about it on Instagram. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Please, please, please join my community if you also want to become the best version of yourself, your best version of that girl, whatever that girl means to you. I come out with new episodes every Wednesday and Sunday, and I try to do my best to make this an engaging community, a judgment-free community of girlies who all just want to grow together. I forgot to mention that I've also been working on my house, and I've been trying to make it cozy, and once it is, I'll probably have a lot more content because my house will be like cute, and then I'll want to like take pictures in it. A lot of my pictures, you can probably tell, are older because my hair is like a different color. I have dyed my hair like every color on the rainbow, so all my pictures reflect that. But I'm getting sidetracked. It's my ADHD. I know. I've also been looking into that too, and like what symptoms actually are, because I never really looked into it. I knew I kind of had it, and then I got diagnosed, and I never really took the time because there's so many different symptoms to see, like, oh, I did this as a child and that makes sense now, those kind of things. So I've been doing that too. But basically I think that's pretty much it. I've just been getting to know myself. I've changed a lot since I last really took time to do that, and it's good to slow down sometimes. You know, life is a cycle. You're not always gonna have ups, you gotta have downs too, and I think I'm on the up. I'm not up yet, but I'm very close to being there, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I think that's it. Like I mentioned, go ahead and give this a like, comment, subscribe, all the things that would you know, really help me out if you feel called to do that. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.